Hey, camera chatters.
Hey, guys.
Welcome to another fabulous show of Camera Chat, the show where we talk about having fun taking better pictures. And I'm here, as always, with my astoundingly articulate, astoundingly articulate accomplice in enunciation, Thomas Nighswander.
Yes.
Here you go, Tom. You're on.
Yeah, I'm on. Hey, guys. Hi. I'm here.
Let's do the crop split. This is great. This is terrific. Yeah.
We have different colors because
except I got a camera I need to push down in front of me. Okay, I can make that a little bit smaller at some point. But
it'll work.
Anyway.
It'll work.
Hey. So
yeah.
Today we're going to talk about some stuff, and Thomas is here. His main role is to keep me from geeking out and causing everyone's head to explode, because I do geek out. I do get a little bit too complicated about things. But today we would like to talk about the difference between RAW
and JPEG.
Yes, which of course we're going to do the double split again. Those are the two formats that most cameras save files in.
And I have to say that's the two most questions I ever get. Do I shoot RAW or JPEG in the workshops, right? That happens a lot. And we'll get into why one is better than the other and vice versa.
Well, when you say better than the other, it depends on your needs and your usage.
Right.
You know,
what are you shooting? What do you want to do? Right.
You know, as sometime professionals, we tend to gravitate toward RAW. Or speaking for myself, I shoot RAW all the time. Although my particular Nikon model has the capability of shooting both RAW and JPEG simultaneously, and I normally leave it set there.
Right. I do too. Well, actually, no, I don't. Like,
No,
I used to when I was shooting for another company at Fuji. I would shoot a lot of JPEG because Fuji cameras do a wonderful job at JPEGs. They're just known for it. They do a great job in the JPEG. Now that I'm shooting with the mirrorless Nikons, I shoot my mirrorless Nikon, my Z6, all RAW all the time, right? But I do have another Nikon that I shoot JPEG all the time. And it depends on what I'm shooting. So that's what we're going to talk about. Do I want to edit, or do I want to just take some nice pictures, share them on Facebook, make some postcards or some prints, and keep it simple, because the camera, you can do a lot inside the camera nowadays that you couldn't back in the day.
Oh yeah.
So you want to how simple do I want to keep it, right? Where am I going with it? Do I a lot of people say you have to shoot RAW.
You don't have to do anything.
You don't have to do anything, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I've noticed that some of the camera apps will now allow you to save RAW files on your phone camera as well.
Yes.
If you're into that sort of thing.
Yes.
So that door is opening up. Usually point-and-shoot cameras, like phones or dedicated point-and-shooters, only shoot JPEG. But that's not true either. I have a Sony point-and-shoot that does RAW as well.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. So, what we want to talk about is, okay, what is RAW and what is JPEG, right? I mean, what is it?
And this is where I would geek out and start talking about bits and bytes and stuff like that.
Right, 18-bit, 4-bit, 16-bit.
No. See, now you're doing it.
Yeah, but we don't need to go there because I don't even go there.
Well, let me give it a shot. Go ahead.
Let's put it in a nutshell.
Fundamental difference.
Yes.
Is that a RAW file contains the complete set of information that your camera captured when you took the picture. There's a little bit of information stored in the file representing every dot on your sensor, your camera's sensor, which is the digital film of your camera.
Right.
Whereas a JPEG, it is compressed, and it uses a kind of compression that we in the computer field call lossy, which means that some of the unimportant details are lost. And the camera, or the little computer in the camera, makes the judgment as to what's important and what's not important. And a lot of times that's detail that's buried inside shadows. And I do have a little demonstration which will show using a picture that I shot Saturday, just a couple of days ago. And we'll get to that in a few. But how's that? Was that? Am
That's
I keeping it? Am I keeping it fairly light?
Fairly simple.
Fairly light.
So I used to get confused. What the heck is compression, right?
Right.
So the camera tries to take this file of 16 or 24, 36, whatever, megabytes, I guess, right? And try to keep it a smaller file so it's easier to work with. But in doing that, you're going to lose something. You're going to lose some of the detail here or there. You're going to lose maybe some of the details. There's detail when you see a picture and it's got like the shadows and stuff. And it's like very shadowy, and it's in JPEG. You can pull some of that detail, but it's limited how much you can get. But in RAW, it's all there. Everything the camera sees in RAW is there in a RAW file. But you have to have software to open up a RAW file, which you don't need for JPEG.
That's another advantage to JPEG.
Yes. So if I want to shoot, and let's say I'm just shooting to share to social media, because I'm not just messing around, I'm going to shoot JPEG because it will just go, and the camera will get the colors I want, because I can set my camera up customized the way I want. I want vibrant colors, or I want muted colors, do I want an old-fashioned look, or do I want black and white? So the JPEG file will just do that in the camera, where I don't have to actually go into a computer and do all that later. Especially when I'm out in the field and I'm trying to do something and show people what I'm getting fairly fast, I shoot JPEG. Now, and so the RAW, so I was talking to Jim about this. I've heard different analogies. My analogy in RAW versus JPEG, to keep it very simple, is RAW is like going to the store. I'm going to buy a raw steak or whatever I want, or even raw dough and make my own dough. But now because I like steak.
No, you're confusing everybody now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So I'll buy a raw steak. That means it's a raw steak. I take it home and I salt and pepper it the way I want, or I prep it the way I want, I marinate it, whatever I want to do, and then I cook it.
Right.
And then after I cook it, I can add more salt and pepper to taste. So a JPEG image is a lot like an already cooked steak. It's like going to the restaurant. I'm going to order my steak, raw, medium rare, however I want it. What you can do with JPEG in your camera, you can say I want this, or this. And then I can still add a little bit of salt and pepper to adjust the taste.
Right.
But I can't go from a totally blank canvas or blank steak to get it exactly how I want it.
You can't uncook it.
You can't uncook it.
And that's what I like to again.
Does that make sense? Yes.
It does make sense.
Yes.
And that is so appropriate. It's all true. Again, I'm trying to keep it, so that it won't lose anybody. But the other thing is that the camera settings are baked into the JPEG file. However you have the camera set, you're kind of stuck with it.
You can tweak it.
You can
add salt and pepper, but you're not going to be able to take it all the way back to like a raw file.
Right. Which is now the raw file. It is literally stored in a raw form, which is it needs to be the term used frequently is developed.
You're right.
It needs to be developed before you can use it. It's pretty useless. A raw file by itself, a lot of software can't even open it. You can't open a raw file in Paint.
Right. So you have to run through a program.
Right.
Like we were talking earlier, like Adobe Bridge or Adobe Raw, or there's other things that'll do it.
Right.
Other programs too. But it's really nowadays there's some editing software like Snapseed, which is one of my favorite apps. You can actually transfer a raw file from because all the newer cameras in the last few years actually have Wi-Fi transfer or Bluetooth transfer to your phone or your tablet. Sure. And I can transfer a raw file to my phone or tablet. I do that very often. Half my Facebook pictures are done this way when I'm out in the field. I'll transfer, and then Snapseed, there's a few others that will do it, that will actually open that raw file on my phone.
Right.
And I can edit it and get a very, very good resolution file out of it.
Sure.
But how much? I guess a lot of it is how much work. If I want to go home and barbecue, we got better weather right now, and I want to maybe barbecue.
Right. The metaphor.
That could be for food. And but maybe I don't. I want a steak, but I'm not in the mood to cook it, so I'm going to go to a restaurant and cook it for me. And that's what JPEG does. It cooks the image for you, and then you can tweak it from there. But RAW means you do everything from start to finish. And then in programs like Photoshop and Lightroom and all these others have presets and things like that. You can go to like maybe pick up or like Luminar Skyline, who I represent. So RAW versus JPEG, people get confused over it. Another thing is I'm going to go shoot my grandsons or my kids' soccer match or track meet. Spring coming up. Well, with JPEG, I can capture more pictures, more images faster. I can go like a burst, boom, 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 as they're running down the field or the track. And JPEG can do that and keep up with it fairly quickly. Where RAW, it takes a little longer. So it's like
unless you have a $10,000 camera.
Well, they still take a little longer in a sense.
They do take longer, yes.
Yes, and the thing is, so the JPEG, a lot of AP photographers and sports photographers they have to get their images out. Nowadays with GPS in your phone or your cameras, they can actually pretty much go right to post. They can go right to right to New York Times or Detroit Free Press or whoever, and almost instantly without even having to go back and sit at a computer, and they have a deadline and all that. So there's a lot of advantages to shooting JPEG over RAW. When I go out, when I'm shooting a fine art or I'm shooting a image that I really want to take my time, I'm going to shoot RAW because I know I'm going to play with it later.
Right.
And so.
Right, but Tom brings up another really good point, is that since JPEGs are smaller, they take up less space on your computer
and on your card and your memory card.
You take more pictures.
Yes.
And they're easier to transport, to email around to friends,
to share.
So there's a lot of. In fact, what I end up doing with my RAW files is I end up saving them in a smaller JPEG form when I'm done tweaking them.
Yes. Well, that's a whole other thing, but I read a lot of articles. If you guys want to really see what I look at, you can go to Camera Chat on our Facebook page, or go to my other page, National Photography Workshops on Facebook, and I'm always sharing little blogs or little tidbits of why do I want to do this or this. A lot of people will go through and take their RAW images and they'll go right into go into a program like Lightroom or something and call them. I'll call them, go through them. I don't. I put everything I shot, unless it's really terrible. I'll put them all in. I'll save them everything once. I save it somewhere, and then I open. And then I know they're safe. Mm-hmm. And then I don't even empty out my SD card or whatever. I'm actually using XQDs now on the newer cameras,
right?
Or the CF Express, it's called now. And so I will save them all, and then not even delete my card off, and then go through and pick the ones I want to work on, and then create another folder on my desktop saying work in progress or whatever. And then I go through and, okay, those are good, now I got them over here. Mm-hmm. I do not ever, it's just the way I do my workflow, but that's different. I never go right into a certain program, because sometimes you'll throw into a program and it will take the RAW and make it into like a digital negative file, a DNG, right, or a PNG, a Photoshop negative. So I want it to stay raw. I don't want no one's touching my steak, man. Put it in the freezer. I'm gonna put my steak in the freezer. No conversion.
Not gonna change.
Put it in the fridge until I'm ready.
Fish.
Yes, I'm gonna put it in the fridge until I'm ready to cook with it.
Yeah.
So my fridge is my folders, and then I go, okay, we're good. Now I know it's there. We're cool. And then I'll pick out the good. Then I'll what they call cull. Now I'll go through. But in JPEG wise, JPEG's just, I can set my camera to shoot vivid or saturation or neutral or black. I said this earlier, but. So there's no good or bad, raw or not,
right.
JPEG. If I'm going to get hired to shoot an event, which I don't do much anymore, we would shoot low resolution JPEG, and this is back when cameras are less than 10 megapixels.
Sure.
Because they weren't going anywhere. They're just going on a Facebook page or maybe a brochure. So you didn't need the highest res.
Right.
So, don't get...
Well, yeah, and for web use, you still don't.
Yeah, web use, you still don't, right.
I'm constantly making pictures smaller. By the way, just a detail, we talk about compression, and people I talk to sometimes get confused. They think when you say a compressed photo, it's one that is, smaller on the screen, and I can see how you'd easily get that idea, but not necessarily so. We're talking about a computer technique for trying to make the file smaller in size, smaller in storage size.
Storage space, right?
Storage
it's
space
still
size.
It's not going down to less than a megapixel. It's still going to be.
I'm having a thought.
Yes.
And we
smell smoke, by the way.
Yes, we should ask folks to make comments.
Yes.
And are you monitoring the?
I am, but I never get.
Our problem is, and we're going to change it. We're going to change it. No, it's not the delay. The problem is that we haven't advertised the fact that we're doing the show until like 2 minutes before. It's like, hey guys, we're on. So starting this week, we will.
Ed Bailey's commenting. Hey Ed.
How you doing, Ed? But here's what I would say. If anybody who's listening, all the thousands of people who are probably watching,
I think it's millions, but
millions, yeah,
millions of minions.
I'm going to make this up as I go along. How about I'm having an idea. How about camera chat tech talks, a separate thing that probably wouldn't be a live stream.
Yes.
Where we actually we stop being afraid to offend people or to scare them off with the technical details.
Right.
And we just dig into them, and you don't have to go there unless you really want to know how the
just
technical
go, yeah, and to be on the
work.
Camera Check Facebook page, you can just go in and say, oh, I want to see what they're doing. Right.
Yeah, we should do this anyway, even if people don't want us to do it.
Yeah, we can do that. Because I did set up a today at 7 p.m. Camera Chat live event. And I got a few people.
Okay, that's good. Well, we should do that a whole week in advance.
Exactly.
Since we know what time it is every week.
Yes, it's 7 o'clock to 7:20 Tuesday night.
Yes, that's right. Every Tuesday.
Stay tuned.
Well, you don't have to stay tuned. You can
just keep tuned in.
You can come. You can come back. But if we make it an event and everybody who subscribes, they'll get a reminder.
Exactly.
You know what? We've only got a few minutes left, so
yes,
I would like.
It goes fast, doesn't it?
I would like to do this demo. Here's what I did. Tom and I were talking about this earlier, and there's all kinds of different software that can be used to develop. I mean, that we're doing the air quotes to develop
right.
a raw file. And the other cool thing about this is that when you do make adjustments to a raw file, the original file is generally not changed.
It's actually called non-destructive.
Yes, it is a non-destructive edit, which is really cool.
It creates a whole other file number for
right.
your original file, so you don't touch your original picture. It creates a whole new separate copy to edit.
Yes.
And
in some cases, it's not a separate copy of the file, but that's okay.
It just
I almost geeked out. Sorry. Well, tune into Camera Chat Tech Talk.
Camera Chat Geeked Out.
Geeked Out Tech Talk. Yeah, we're going to come up with some interesting names.
Yeah, we'll come up with it.
But
we're still work in progress.
What I have here is there's some shots I took Saturday, and I was carrying my big Nikon around. And we're usually pretty quick on the settings, but my granddaughter happened to be out in a field in the snow, and she turned to me with this perfect look, and it's like, I got to catch this. So I just picked the camera up, it clicked, and my generic settings. We won't go into my generic settings, but I catch a good picture. It's a good shot. I keep my depth of field set at a good level and my ISO set appropriately. But this was a very bright, sunny day. And so the camera did its best to automatically figure out what was going on, but the contrast is just a little high. Now, fortunately, I have a RAW file. So I can go into it using, in this case, I use Adobe's Camera Raw, which is it's available as part of all their subject. Actually, you can use anything. The interfaces are going to be similar but different, and this is going to be a first for us. I'm going to try to actually
show.
This is by the way a behind. This is what our actual studio setup looks like. But we're gonna get out of here. Here we go, and this is the picture that I want to open up, and I happen to be in Photoshop right now.
Hit open,
and we hit open, and automatically Photoshop is going to pull up Camera Raw as a plugin.
Right. So Camera Raw is working with that RAW file. Yeah.
Sure. And there it is. And here's okay. So let's see if I can remember how to do this. Yeah. Okay. So you see that it's not a bad picture as it stands.
Right.
But
I think this is a good subject for like Tech Talk, where we go into these things and show you what the sliders do.
Right, but what I just want to show you real quickly is that I'm, without going into the hows or whys, I know that my whites are a little too white, so I'm going to just turn down my highlights.
Right, bring it down. Yeah.
And then I'm going to turn up the shadows.
You want to see the little detail behind her head?
And
look, that was black, now it's purple.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to do that in JPEG. It will fall apart.
That's what we're really trying to communicate.
Right.
This is the reason why we shoot in RAW.
Right.
Is to give us that capability. You can get a little bit of that back. Let's do a back and forth here. There's the original RAW file as the camera was set.
Correct.
And then this is what we can pull out of it.
Right.
And there's a whole bunch more adjusting that can be done, of
Right.
course. But that's all I wanted.
We're
That's
not
all I
that-
wanted to do. That's all I wanted to show.
Right. And so the camera raw thing. So I think it's a good call. Like, you know, like the camera chat tech. You know, whatever camera chat tech room or
Tech Talk or whatever.
Yeah, tech talk.
I think Tech Talk is used, but that's okay.
Yeah, right. Tech chat. I don't know. But yeah, there's so much that we can show you guys. But the whole thing about camera chat is to get you interested and want to learn more.
Yes.
And that's the whole point, because we can teach you more. So the camera chat is, hey, I like what they're talking about. I want to learn more. So if you want to learn more, post in the comments, hey, I liked what you talked about, and say, I want to learn more about that. And we'll get back with you, and we'll set some classes up where you can go and, okay, you can go on our camera chat page and watch it. Maybe it won't be live, but you can see what we're doing. There's a way to do it live too. We can do that live in a way, but
Yeah.
a lot of different ways.
We're kind of making up some of this as we go along.
Yeah,
and it
because
depends on what you want.
Yeah, we
Give
need
us some
but you-
feedback.
Yeah, we need your input to know what you want, right?
Right.
I can't. We don't know what you want unless you don't tell us. But there's lots of software you can use. There's lots of free software. There's lots of software that's not very expensive. You know, there's a lot of different ways. You know, some things you own. You have to get the Creative Cloud. There's a lot, just a ton. So if you're happy with your JPEG pictures and they're working for you, don't worry. You know,
Right.
But my theory is, if you get to the point, I want my pictures to look better, then we can put you there. If you're happy with your pictures, then don't worry about so much.
Sure. Okay, we are out of time, so let's go back to our famous camera chat splash screen.
Yes.
And we're going to show our acknowledgments again. Let's see, where is it? Oh, there it is.
In there.
There we are.
So we want to thank Westbourne Camera again.
We do.
Located in Dearborn, Michigan. We're in their Livonia offices. That's the used camera store. I want to thank Roland Detroit Films, right?
Oh, Roland Detroit Films. Why is that hard to say?
I don't know.
People
I
have
say
trouble
Rolling
saying it.
in Detroit.
Yeah, Roland Detroit Films. Right.
Yeah.
It's
National
a
Photography
pun.
Works,
It's roll in Detroit because we
Films.
roll our film, we roll our cameras in Detroit.
Yes. And then obviously National Photography Workshops, my workshop page. I'm going to talk to a couple other sponsors, but yeah. it's
Hey,
good stuff.
I'm gonna put you back on just for a second here.
Yes.
What's the next National Photography Workshop event?
We have
coming
a
up?
meeting Friday night here at the warehouse in Livonia. That's on the National Photography Workshops Facebook page. We have a camera club meeting. We just kind of hang out. We eat pizza and we share pictures. We just talk about just chat like we're doing now. And then after that, we have Mansfield Reformatory, which is where they filmed the Shawshank Redemption, and then Smoky
fantastic.
Mountains, and then just a bunch, photo walks, all kinds of little things.
I wish I had time to go on more of these events because that's just that's exciting.
So we're 3 minutes over our sponsor.
We are 3 minutes over, so we are in trouble. So we're gonna
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I think we're going to do our that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.